Well, this kind of seems like it just came from out of nowhere. So as you know, Frank Renaud has retired from the game as the Detroit Lions center after 7 seasons. He was the 20th overall selection by the said Detroit Lions in the 2018 NFL Draft, and he is retiring due to his concerns about his health and his family. He was a 4-time Pro Bowler and a second-team All-Pro honor 3-time recipient. And he was also able to lead the offensive line of the Detroit Lions from one of the worst teams in the league to being Super Bowl contenders. Best of luck, Frank Renaud, in your future endeavors, man. Time to lighten up the mood. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. I'm the Grizz, and we are moving on to the AFC for hot takes. We're continuing the series. We're going to do 2 divisions this time for today, tomorrow. So first up, AFC North and South. If you haven't already, make sure you check out the link in the description with the entire playlist for Season 2, so you have every episode out there so you can catch up, and you'll also have that playlist for future episodes. Don't forget to hit the red subscribe button down there, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. It also helps the channel a lot. Without further ado, let's get to some more hot takes. Kicking things off with the AFC North, first up we got the Baltimore Ravens. Been a playoff team ever since Lamar Jackson came along. And, oh boy, this is going to be a little tough. This is going to be a bit of a reach, but I feel like, ooh, now that I think about it, this is going to be a little hard. I guess the receiving core of the Baltimore Ravens gets 2,000-yard receivers. As you know, the rushing attack of Lamar Jackson and King Henry are one of the best in the league, and so the passing game isn't really as talked about too much. Ravens only had 1,000-yard receiver in 2024, and that was Zay Flowers. I feel like Mark Andrews can get 1,000 yards if he has more catches, and Rashad Bateman could also have 1,000 yards if he gets more catches. Or should I say more targets? Because Zay Flowers had 116 targets in 2024, which was at more than 40 more than second place. So I feel like Lamar Jackson is trying to improve his passing more. He did that in 2024, now 2025. Maybe he could be a passing genius and maybe get at least 2 players over 1,000 yards. Defense was as good as ever, if not better, with some drafted players named Mike Green from Marshall and Malachi Starks from Georgia. And before you ask, we needed a safety. No, we didn't. We needed pass rush badly. That was our #1 priority, and that's what we got in the first round. Stop asking. Moving on, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. I think this is kind of an easy one. Zach Taylor gets fired mid-season. I think we all know that he is one of the coaches on the hot seat, so he has a lot of pressure to make sure the defense can be almost, if not as good as the offense. Because I keep talking about this over and over again, but 2024, Bengals offense was one of the best, defense was one of the worst. And if Zach Taylor can't fix the defense as quickly as he possibly can, he might be done. A lot of people are speculating that Zach Taylor would be fired after the season is over if they miss the playoffs, but he might get canned mid-season. There's a good chance of it if the Bengals go off to a bad start again. Up next, we got the Cleveland Browns. I'm not going for a popular pick for a hot take, which is the QB room. That's just a whole mess. I also heard that Kenny Pickett's projected to be the starter? You mean a former Super Bowl champion was baby hands, Kenny Pickett. I guess the reason why is because they're trying to keep Joe Flacco as a QB2, but now they're starting to think that he's probably not even going to make the team, which I think sounds ridiculous. And for the love of God, can we stop glazing Shedeur Sanders? Let me tell you, if his last name was not Sanders, nobody would have even heard of this guy, and he would have probably been undrafted. I will admit, he does have a lot of talent, but if he lets his ego get in the way, he's probably going to become a bust. Maybe even worse than Zach Wilson. By the way, y'all need to stop hating him right now, because Aaron Rodgers did worse somehow with the Jets than Zach Wilson did. That's because the Jets allowed Aaron Rodgers to take control of the team. Aaron Rodgers, never become a GM in your career because you suck. Anyways, please stop riding the Sanders coattail and actually look at Dylan Gabriel for goodness sake. I swear, Dylan Gabriel is just heavily underrated, and it's not even his fault. Yeah, moving on, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, the final team from the AFC North. The popular hot take would be that Mike Tomlin has a losing season for the first time ever and gets fired. That's not my hot take. I actually believe Will Howard could potentially be a starting QB for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he ends up being the quarterback that the Steelers need instead of Aaron Rodgers. I think the Steelers are very hesitant on bringing in Aaron Rodgers, even though he's almost guaranteed to go there. I say almost guaranteed because the deal isn't done yet. And it's literally normal of Aaron Rodgers to wait a couple months before making this decision final. I don't think Mason Rudolph is going to last long as a starting QB, that's for sure. I feel like Will Howard has the tangibles needed to be a franchise-altering QB. If he could just do well with DK Metcalf and all the rest of the receiving core, including Pat Freiermuth and even Jalen Ward, these guys could be in good shape. I think we all know that TJ Watt's single-handedly carrying the defense, especially with Micah Fitzpatrick and Cam Hayward on the brink of retirement. Oh yeah, don't let me forget about Alex Highsmith and the secondary being pretty decent. The only problem really with the Steelers' offense is exactly going to be the QB spot. If they could get somebody to throw to DK Metcalf like Will Howard, maybe they could go above 500 again, maybe even win the division over Baltimore. But nobody's played a game yet, so only one way to find out, right? And now moving on to the AFC South. First up, Houston Texans. I honestly think Puka Nacua should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, he literally broke rookie receiving records left and right in 2022. Or excuse me, 2023. As far as CJ Stroud goes, oh boy, they've been pretty much average to above average this entire time CJ Stroud's been a QB. I think this will be the year that CJ Stroud completely falls off the rails and makes the Houston Texans miss the playoffs. Let's be honest, DeMeco Ryans is actually a pretty solid head coach. I honestly would love to play for him. But CJ Stroud, I don't know, ever since his magical rookie season, it seems like he's going on a downhill slide. He's spiraling out of control, he is making throws that he doesn't normally make. Or at least throwing it to the other team, rather. Missing throws, dude, it's not looking good for the Stroud fans over there. This could finally be the Houston Texans breaking point with CJ Stroud, and he might be cast off as an ultimate bust. I think the downward trajectory is going to keep going, and CJ Stroud might be out of the league perhaps in 4 or 5 years. Well, into his career. Next, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Popular pick is going to be how many receiving yards and interceptions or passes defense that Travis Hunter is going to get. But I'm not looking at that. I'm going to go a little deeper here. I'm not going to go Travis Hunter's way. I'm going to say Brent Strange somehow, someway makes a Pro Bowl. You know something? Brent Strange had more receiving yards, more catches and targets than Evan Engram last year. Brian Thomas was literally the only saving grace of Jacksonville back in 2024. Now that Travis Hunter is over there, who knows? Maybe they can both get double covered and Strange might be able to lock in perhaps 1,000 yards? Dude, I forgot how good rookie tight ends were back in 2024. Brock Bowers. Not sure what's going on with Trevor Lawrence. I feel like he's still an above average QB, but he's definitely letting that 2022 season get into his head. This could seriously be Trevor Lawrence's last chance to prove that he could still lead the Jaguars to perhaps new heights. I think Brenton Strange will have his kind of breakout season, and he's going to help Trevor Lawrence quite a bit here. Also, don't forget, he is 24 years old. He could only get better from here. Moving on, we got the Indianapolis Colts. My hot take for the Colts is that neither Anthony Richardson nor Daniel Jones are going to be the starting QB going forward for the Indianapolis Colts. As far as 2025 going forward. They drafted Riley Leonard in the 6th or 7th round. So Anthony Richardson's job wasn't already in jeopardy. Daniel Jones' job as a backup could also be in jeopardy. We could see either Riley Leonard or Jason Bean take it over as a starting QB for the Colts. They got the run game with Jonathan Taylor. They got the receiving core. They drafted Tyler Warren in the 1st round as a tight end. They got Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Alec Pierce as well. Offense should be in tip-top shape, especially with a pretty decent offensive line. Defense is still going to be disrespected but I feel like they can perform well also. The only issue, like a certain team, is the quarterback. The possibilities of who's going to be the starting QB are endless, and I feel like Ryan Leonard's got a good chance. Call me an Anthony Richardson hater all you want, but everybody knows damn well that he's a bust. And finally, we got the Tennessee Titans. I think it's either Cam Ward or Travis Hunter who's currently the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, perhaps, maybe even Defensive Rookie of the Year for Hunter. But if any team could win the division that's going to be so wide open, I feel like the Titans could have the best shot. So yeah, I'm going to say that Cam Ward could potentially win Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and also lead the Titans to at least a 10-win year. Let's be real. They have a solid run game with Tajay Spears decides to play well in 2025. They picked up Tyler Lockett, who could add some depth to the wideout spot. Still got Chicago, still got 1,000-yard receiving Calvin Ridley. They got a pretty solid offensive line. And the defense is also above average, so this could be a recipe for a winning record team. There is absolutely no way the Titans are favored to win the division, but since the division is so wide open right now, because any team could win it, even though teams you aren't expecting, like the Jags or the Titans, maybe even the Colts, but I have no faith in them. I think the Titans, of the three teams between Houston and Jacksonville as well, probably had the lowest of the three, and I feel like they could shock everybody. They're a long way from being Super Bowl contenders, well, post-Derrick Henry-wise as well, but they could be onto a good start, and Callahan might actually keep his job. But man, that secondary got beaten down ever since L'Jarius Sneed left the Chiefs. What a horrible turnaround. If the secondary can play well, maybe the Titans could be a division winner. And that's going to do it for the AFC North and South hot takes, and that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you give this a big fat thumbs up, hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you don't miss a single one of my videos. It helps the channel a lot as well. This is the Grizz signing off for now, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace!